So who has questions here about lead generation or lead conversion? As you can tell, I am a big believer that for agents who are at the earlier stages of their career, it's a much more effective use of their time and their resources to generate leads through relationships rather than through ad spend. Now, if we look at the real estate industry, every 5 years, 87% of the agent population turns, right? So if you're brand new licensed, look around. 87% of people who got licensed this year will not be practicing in 5 years' time. All right. I am watching. Hello, Patricia Young. Glad you're here. And Karen and Duke. Love it. Thank you for being here today. Hi, everybody. My name's Dan Stewart, and I am super excited to be here because we're going to open some eyes today in a cool new way. So I'm going to say hello to you. Hopefully you can say back. I definitely want to see you saying hello in the chat. Thank you for that, Patricia. Go ahead and tell me where you're from, too. I want to know that. I just flew in from Las Vegas yesterday, and tomorrow I'm off to Park City. So there's a crazy bunch of travel. There's a good chance I'll be in your town here before long. So Duke, Gary, Joel, Karen, Lisa, Patricia, Shelly, Taryn, Juana, thank you so much for being here. Snowy Kansas City and Dallas, Tejas. I am going to be in Dallas tomorrow morning. No crap. Our flight connects in Dallas. I will be there. Lisa from Cincinnati is in the house. What's up, Cincinnati? We have a Skyline Chili, not too awful far. That's a regular stop for our family. So we love that. Cool. So usually I like to patter for just a moment because we've got an audience coming in from all over the place. Today, I've got too much exciting stuff to cover that I just really want to dive right into it. So I want you to give me a big giant yes in the chat if you're ready to learn how to love on some leads. I think you are, right? I think you are. That's why you're here. So let's dive in here and get it covered. First of all, and thank you, those of you who are writing yes, yes, yes. I really do appreciate that because today's session is going to be interactive. That's right. I'm not just blah, 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 and we're actually going to get some work done together that could really make a difference in your GCI this year. So I am going to share my screen and we're going to dig right in. Let me go ahead and do this. So you should momentarily be seeing the screen of my iPad. And I'm still going to be keeping my eye on the chat. So hopefully you guys can see my big ugly mug on the screen there. There's my QR code. If you click on that, if you point your camera at that on your phone, it's going to take you to danstewart.com where you can follow me on social. You can grab my contact information. We could even become friends. That's a possibility. So today we have a lot to cover. And like I said, we're going to dive right in and get this cranked out. So the first thing that we have to talk about is the framework. We must have a framework to create results with leads. We have to. We can't just accidentally hope it works. We must put a framework in place. I am going to make sure that you know how to avoid wasting cash. So if you have wasted cash on leads, can you put a $ in the chat for me, please? I want to see those $signs. I'm sure that you have. The real estate lead generation game, in my opinion, has some fundamental flaws. I see lots of $signs pouring in. There's a bunch of people who can relate to that. And then finally, we're going to talk about what you must teach your leads, right? So this is a pretty simple agenda for today. And we're going to talk about the framework first, because if you don't have a framework, nothing else matters. You must have a mechanism to make sure that as leads are created, they're getting the appropriate follow-up. And I know this is something that can be so confusing. So many people will struggle with this sort of thing. And my goal for this section is to just break it down to its most simple parts. And so we can do this accurately. I need you to call out in the chat for me what your lead sources are, and I'm going to write them down. So be thinking about where you generate leads and where they come from. So maybe it's IDX leads, maybe you're getting them from an open house, maybe you've got a broker who's handing you leads or a team leader that's handing you leads. Go ahead and call out your lead sources, and I'll just start jotting them down here. So open houses, IDX leads. I see, let's see, Op City, Open House Sphere, SOI, farming. Now they're coming in fast and furious. Google PPC. I love seeing SOI featured so prominently. I see Facebook there. Where are my people saying Zillow? What happened to y'all? How about realtor.com, homes.com, any of the portals? I'm going to go ahead and write them out. Floor, Wendy, I love it. You're saying floor. That's awesome. A lot of second home and vacation markets. That is just a magical way to mint leads. You can do that. Floor portals, and I'll write down like Zillow, Trulia, Homes, RDC, realtor.com. All right, let's see if we got any others coming in. All right, so this is a whole pretty good variety of leads. And we're going to tick through some of the strengths and weaknesses. Strengths of open houses. You are, I mean, this is a big strength here, right? I'm going to change colors so it pops out here. You're face-to-face. You can really build rapport at an open house if that's one of your strengths, right? That's a great thing. One of the weaknesses is you can't really control or predict the volume of traffic that you're going to get or the quality of that traffic, right? Now, some people are thinking, yeah, that's right. You know, neighbors came in and looked before. They just wanted to see what the neighbor's house was. And I think, okay, so that's probably not a good lead today. It could be an outstanding relationship down the road. So anytime you have an opportunity to meet with people face-to-face, I would say your goal should be to build rapport with those people. Now, IDX leads come to you online via your website, right? That could be a Chime site, a real estate webmaster's site, a Boomtown site. It could be a site that's provided by your brokerage, like maybe a KV Core site. Usually those are funded with some type of ad spend, whether it's PPC or social media spend. Those will funnel into an IDX site. And then the advantage there is you can see what they're looking for, right? You can see search. Now, one of the weaknesses with IDX leads is that they're often quite a distance from when they register to when they're actually ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. So that's something that you must prepare for. If you're at a point in your real estate career where you're willing to invest money in leads, congratulations, that's awesome. And yet really understand that you're going to have to make that investment over time before it's going to pay off. I think a lot of agents have the expectation that they bought a lead. That means it's a good lead. Those people are going to be ready to buy, sell, or invest. When most of the time they will be ready, it's just way down the road, right? So you must have a long-term plan in place for those. Now, OpCity is a good one. OpCity does a great job of kind of curating that lead until such time as they're ready. And then they hand them over to a local agent to work, with the caveat that it costs a healthy percentage of the sale. So OpCity can be a great lead source. We have a bunch of members who really like their OpCity investment. And we're going to talk about SOI next. Sphere of influence. I don't really see that as being a paid lead source. That's a relationship lead source. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. Farming, which I know you can probably barely read my writing here, but farming You think of the classic just listed, just sold postcard campaign to a neighborhood that you like to work in. There are lots of ways that can turn into value for you. Most of the time, it's a branding play. It helps people get familiar with your name. So when you're investing money in farming, you shouldn't also expect that it's going to be an immediate return. It's typically not. Now, open houses and floor, they both have that face-to-face element that's great. Both of those require that you have some means of collecting information from them so that you can build relationships with them over time. And then we'll close with portals, then we'll move into the next section here. So portals, I wish I could tell you guys, I wish there were a way for me to know whether or not your investment in portal leads would pay off for you. God's honest truth. I have members who hate that they're spending so much money on portal leads, and yet they're making far much more money because of it. It works tremendously well for them. And I have agents in other markets spending a very comparable amount of money, and it's not working for them. Now, we studied this, we looked into it. It's not the variability of the agent or the way that the leads are followed up with. It's simply a market condition. In some markets, the leads are exclusive to you. In others, they're sold to multiple agents. So, you never know if you're purchasing a lead. Are you the first agent to get it, or are you the 10th agent to get it? Right? It's interesting. Now, there's a question that's come in here, and I'm going to attempt to pronounce your name, Dilshad. I hope I got that right. The Patel part, I definitely know. He's asking, what about for those who are starting up and don't want to spend on getting the expensive leads? Well, I totally support that any agent, whether they're starting up or not, should not automatically say, oh, I can spend a bunch of money on leads. Because the truth is, every single person you're ever going to meet has to live somewhere. And you can always generate more leads through relationships than you can through buying them. Like, it's always going to work more effective for you if you do it that way. So I will go deeper into that here in just a moment. Before I do so, we have to talk about the framework. Now, this framework is specific to lead conversion. It consists of 3 parts: 1, 2, and 3. Right? So in part 1, we're immediately receiving a lead. And once that lead has come in, it must be acknowledged. I'm not sure if I spelled that right here in front of all you kind people. But the acknowledgement phase of a message, it's got to do a couple of things. First, it can't feel like an autoresponder. It's 2022. We all know what an autoresponder looks like. So it shouldn't go out a microsecond after they register, right? It should go out a little bit later. So I'm going to mark here small time delay. Okay. Now, an acknowledgement phase can consist of a variety of messages. It could be email, it could be text, it could be ringless voicemail drop, RMVD, ringless voicemail drop. And the idea in the acknowledgement phase is that that human being on the other side of the computer screen now knows for sure that a human being is involved, right? So I'll give you an example. And I'll just pick a name here out of the audience. So Lisa, I'm coming at you. Let's imagine you just jumped in my funnel. You're now a lead. And I've set up a text autoresponder, and it's going to go out 3 minutes after you've registered. Hi, Lisa. It's Dan Stewart at Happy Grasshopper. I'm in meetings right now. I should be able to call you in about 20 minutes. If it's urgent, please text back and I'll do what I can to get with you more quickly, right? Simple little boom. That message goes out. I may or may not get a reply from that person, but at that 20-minute mark, I'm going to have an automated ringless voicemail drop go out. Hey, it's me, Dan Stewart, just following up with you like I said I would. Really looking forward to connecting and learning about your real estate needs. Please call me at 727-232-9117. Again, that's 727-232-9117. And I'll follow up with you again by the end of the day if I don't hear from you. Right? So we sent a text that set an expectation. Now we've sent a voicemail drop that fulfills that expectation. And then maybe we close out the end of that day with an email. Hey, Lisa, it's me, Dan, just circling back to follow up with you. Would love to connect, right? And then there's my number. So that simple acknowledgement sequence is a great way to have the best of what used to really be the gold standard, which was speed to lead. Going back 5, 6, 7 years, speed to lead was super, super important. Today, there are far more leads than there are transactions. 130 million digital leads per year for 6.1 million real estate transactions. So what that means is speed to lead has become much less important. The transaction isn't taking place immediately after they register. It's often 6, 12, as many as 18 months after they've made that registration. So, that brings us to the reality that we have to have a plan, not to just acknowledge them and leave them alone. We have to then continue to reach out to them. And we do that in the next phase of communication, which is called the positioning phase. Now, in the positioning phase, we are positioning ourselves as the person who can share exactly what they need to know, right? So remember, one of the expectations for today was to share with you what you must teach your leads. That's what happens in the positioning phase. And what you need to teach them is why your past clients love you. So critical, right? If you currently have a communication strain that says something along the lines of, I'm an expert negotiator, I always put my clients first and treat them like family, you're saying exactly what so many other agents are. It doesn't set you apart. And, we know that the power of telling stories is what really hook people. Okay, so I'm going to share a little formula for you over here on the side. This is the formula for engagement. If you want to create engagement with your leads, this is what you do. You raise curiosity, and then you leave it unresolved. Raise curiosity and leave it unresolved. That is the formula for engagement. So I'll give you an example. Hey, Lisa, let me think of a good example here. Hey, Lisa, I just came across a report that made me think of you. This is going to make a big difference in our area, and I'd love to talk with you about it. Please give me a call. Okay, so that's a pretty rough example, but the idea is we're wetting the whistle, but we're not delivering the whole dinner, right? We're teasing them. We're raising that curiosity enough to get them to engage. Now, the more you know about a particular subset of contacts, so like those of you who are interested in farming, let's pick a neighborhood name. I'll choose West Chase. It's a neighborhood near me. You could send an email to Lisa, the resident of that neighborhood, saying, hey, Lisa, did you hear what's going to happen next quarter in West Chase? I think it's going to make a big difference for you. If you or anyone you know would consider selling their home, please have them call me right away. Thank you. Right? Ooh, what's going on? What's going to be happening here? We're raising that curiosity and we're leaving it unresolved. Now, I'm taking this moment to explain that formula of engagement because you need to put that to work in the positioning phase. You must help that lead see that you're different, right? Consider the lead source as you're doing this. You know, corporate relocation lead is a lot different than an open house lead, is a lot different than a referral from past clients or sphere. So in all those cases, if you can teach them what it is that's really loved and appreciated about you, you'll stand out. You'll be memorable. The third one, and the third one is so critical. This isn't just nurturing, it's long-term nurturing. So important. If we know that the average new lead today isn't ready to talk to you for 6 to 12 months, and your plan is to make a few phone calls and send a few emails, well, we can see there's a huge opportunity there, right? I'm sure that many of you are working in an office where there are agents who have a bunch of dead leads they've given up on, right? So here's a suggestion for that person starting out without much budget. Ask people for their dead leads from last year and tell them that if you're able to sell anything from them, you'll pay them. Like, you just work out whatever dollar amount makes sense. They'll be happy to turn them over to you. Happy to. And what you'll be able to do as a result of this phase is further differentiate yourself from the other agents in the market. So long-term nurturing content shouldn't just be about real estate. You should use this phase to build deep rapport. What do you love about the areas you serve? Where do you like to go? What's your favorite restaurant? What community events or activities are you involved in? Like, all of those things go into the nurturing phase. Now, if we put all of this together, we're going to say you need a minimum of 12 months of content. Minimum of 12 months. Best case scenario is infinity. You'll never stop nurturing those relationships that you're building. And this is a key point here, because we're not talking about converting a lead. That's so clinical, right? If we think of it like we're building a relationship, there is a human being who needs help with real estate. We're experts in real estate. We're going to help these people with their need. We're going to build a relationship with them along the way. Sometimes just that shift of mindset can help you get past this lead fatigue that tends to build up with agents. You know, lead fatigue is something that has to be acknowledged at every level of the real estate organization today. If you're a brand, you need to know that your brokers and your agents are feeling the fatigue of getting all these leads. Just day before yesterday, I was in a conversation with a high producing broker who's saying, you know, in a complaining sort of way, I can't get my agents to follow up on the leads. And it's like there's this gulf of understanding that's just not being crossed here. The broker feels like they're working so hard to provide these leads. They're frustrated that the agents aren't following up with them. The agents are following up. They're only following up for that very short period of time before the lead is ready to engage, right? That best closing you'll ever have is not likely to be very close for a new lead that's generated. And there are some exceptions for that. That's what we need to talk about next. So this section, Dilshad, this is going to be very helpful for you. So we have paid and we have free. And we think about paid, you know, things like portals, IDX, pay-per-click, social media. Of course, I'm referring to ads there. All of those things are paid. They're very expensive. Free, I'm going to write down relationships. Like SOI referrals. That's absolutely where it's at. You can earn a ton of money with those SOI referrals. And one of the big strengths here, like we're going to do a little strength and weakness analysis. When we look at the strength of these, One, free or near free. Two, near term. Think about those referrals that you've generated in your career. 99% of the time, they're much closer to being ready to transact than these are. So paid strengths. They are instant. You got cash, you can exchange it for leads. It's that simple. There's not a lead provider out there who can't produce leads for you. That is certainly a strength. They're instant. The problem with this is that they're not near term, right? And that's a weakness here. So I'm going to change this up a little bit. We're going to put weaknesses in a different color. Weaknesses. Long term. So if you're an agent who's just starting out, getting paid quickly is a priority. You absolutely need to do things to generate cash quickly. So I'm going to share with you a couple of ideas to do this. I'm actually going to skip over a bunch of this stuff. I'll come back to it, but this is such a great way to generate almost entirely free leads. Just find a t-shirt shop, order one online, a custom t-shirt maker. And this is the text that's on the shirt. Say hi if you live in, and then whatever name of the neighborhood that you want to target is. Have it printed on the front and the back, and just wear it. Wear it when you're grocery shopping. Wear it if you're in line at the coffee shop. Wear it just out and about, and you'll be stunned how many conversations that shirt will start. It's a super inexpensive way to start conversations with people. And, here's how that conversation goes. Like, Lisa, I'll keep coming back to you here, right? If Lisa says hello to me because I'm wearing this t-shirt, I'm going to say, oh, wow, you live in Westchase. That's awesome. What part of Westchase are you in? Oh, over by the back. That's great. Yeah, I know some people who live back there. That's really cool. Do you know the Johnsons? You do? Oh, that's wonderful. Or you don't? That's wonderful too. Lisa, I'm curious. Do you know any one of your neighbors at all who would consider selling their house right now? Maybe if we got a dump truck full of cash for them. Do you? That is the conversation you need to get to, right? Build rapport, enjoy the conversation, ask that question. And whether or not they're ready to actually make a referral to you, your next move is super simple. You're going to pull out your phone just like I am. You're going to click on your LCA Nurture app just like I am, and it's going to pull up your contact information, right? So if Lisa and I were face to face, I would go ahead and I'd click that QR code, and I would say, Lisa, can you just take out your phone and point your camera at that? And I'll pause here for a moment. There may be some of you are doing that right now. Now, if you do that, it's going to take you here, right? And then when you're there, you click on my contact information. You can email me, call me, text me. And if you click Save Contact, you'll drop all of my contact information right onto your phone. How cool is that? Now, when I'm having that conversation with Lisa, I'll make sure she does that on her phone. And then I'm going to say, let me make sure I've got your information, right? And I'll just grab her first, last phone and email. And that's going to pull her contact information into my LCA Nurture account. So she's going to get the next messages that I've scheduled for my contacts to receive. Okay. That is the best possible way I can help somebody start generating business without investing a lot of money. You have to have a conversation starting strategy, and you have to deploy that strategy in a way that you're capturing information and you're going to continue to nurture those relationships over time. Like, anybody heard of Dunbar's number? It says that none of us can really effectively maintain relationships with more than about 150 people. 150 is not such a huge number. In fact, our data says that if you put just 100 people into LCA Nurture and you build relationships with them, that will produce on average 12 transactions per year. So if you're not at 12 transactions per year already, you definitely need to be. And that will let you do all sorts of great things with, generating business and building referrals from your database. So I'm going to jump back to my screen share here for a moment. I want to give you an idea of what we're talking about. So I'm going to share a couple of messages here with you. And first one we're going to take a look at is actually an email message, right? So, if you take a look at that message, you can see it's about a topic that people know. So it's a known topic. Most people associate positive feelings with with Blockbuster. In this case, nostalgia, right? And then we teach them something new idea. And then we have a call to conversation. Okay. Now, this message is exactly the sort of thing you can send to past clients in Sphere to generate referrals from them that would be inappropriate to send to a lead you have not built a relationship with. If I've just registered on your IDX site and I get this, I'm confused. But if you're my neighbor, if our kids go to school together, if you sold me a home a couple years ago and I get this, I just think you're awesome. You shared something fun, right? Now, I'll show you when Randall sent that message, this was his open rate, 53%. That's insanely high for email in 2022, insanely high. And he posted on his company Facebook group, I love this. He says, within 90 minutes, I received this email back from a client that closed in 2013. I figured I'd share so you can see how easy the flow is. Now, here's that email back. Here's the real important part. Are you able to give me an idea what we could list for? How cool is that? Like, who wouldn't want to get that sort of a reply from a past client, right? Everybody wants that. And the good news is that there's more than just one reply here. What we've got going on in this scenario is he got a second email from someone that closed in 2017, and she wants him to set up a search. So if both close, we're talking between $1.5 to $2 million in turnarounds for the sell buy on both, right? So how cool is that, right? Those are great results to get. Now, I'm going to spend a couple of moments here. I want to make sure that you understand the right way to keep in touch with these different audiences. So the framework we talked about, the 3-part framework of acknowledge, position, and nurture, that's for leads. They don't know you. They have to get to know you. Your past clients in Sphere already know you. They need to hear from you about more than just real estate. So Tristan and Nick and I, we worked together to create a solution just for LabCoatAgents members that can really drive results for you in this regard. So I'm going to show you this real quickly so you know it's available for you. When you should be seeing my screen now. If you guys can confirm in the chat for me that you're seeing LCA Nurture, please just somebody give me a yes or a thumbs up or something in the chat. Want to make sure we're sharing the right stuff there. Thank you. Appreciate that. So what we have here is a messaging plan. There's actually 41 touches per year consisting of email, text message, ringless voicemail drop, social media posts, and handwritten cards. Now, the system keeps you on track throughout the year, shows you who has birthdays, shows you who's likely to move in the coming 6 months. And it also includes this digital business card feature that I mentioned to you before. So this is the one that I just showed you on the screen. That comes included in your LCA Nurture. So I know you guys are probably wondering, well, what's the cost for this? To find that out, just go to this link, happygrasshopper.com/meet LCA Nurture. And when you're there, you can watch videos, you can hear about results that members are getting in the system. You can see everything that it does. And of course, you can subscribe to the service. So it's very inexpensive. LCA Nurture is just $47 per month. Or if you choose annually, you actually get 2 months free. So that's kind of cool too. Now, we have covered a lot today. We've covered an awful lot. And it's important to me that we didn't turn this session into just, hey, here's a product, you should go sign up for it, but to truly teach you how to convert your leads and to help you understand what really works. So with that in mind, I'd like to go ahead and prep you that I'm willing to hang out and answer your questions, any lead generation or conversion question you have, or even questions about LCA Nurture. I'm happy to answer those for you as well. So I'm going to watch the chat here for questions to come in. And in the meantime, I'm going to answer one that I think almost certainly one of you has, right? So first I'll answer that, yes, we integrate with hundreds of different systems. So if you have contacts that are somewhere else, they can very easily flow in to your LCA Nurture account. Two, I'll answer that we have live support teams who are really awesome. So we can actually book a one-on-one setup call just for you, which you do by going to happygrasshopper.com/whiteglove. And you'll get that information, of course, once you open your account. So who has questions here about lead generation or lead conversion? As you can tell, I am a big believer that for agents who are at the earlier stages of their career, it's a much more effective use of their time and their resources to generate leads through relationships rather than through ad spend. You know, if we look at the real estate industry, every 5 years, 87% of the agent population turns, right? So if you're brand new licensed, look around. 87% of people who got licensed this year will not be practicing in 5 years' time, right? And what that means is that real estate, in my opinion, needs to do a better job of helping people understand what it really takes to succeed in this business. Further, it means that agents need to protect themselves from buying tons and tons of these leads because, you know, if you think about 130 million digital leads for $6.1 million transactions, or 6.1 million transactions, that it's just an incredibly lopsided equation. You know, it's no surprise that companies selling leads are generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, often multi-billion-dollar valuations on the stock markets. You need to protect yourself. You need to guard your dollars. You need to make sure that they're working hard for you. So let's take a look here. We do have a question from Charlene. She's asking, are there different campaigns for sphere of influence and also past clients in LCA Nurture? Well, so the way that we think about separation of campaigns, I want to be really, really clear about this. There are two kinds of people in the world. They know us and they don't, right? So if I'm your past client or I'm a member of your sphere, we have the same level of knowledge as far as that's concerned. Like, we know each other, right? If I'm in your sphere, we know each other. If I'm your past client, we know each other. So in both scenarios, what's really important is that you have a communication sequence that's not always about real estate. You can't just play the same note over and over again and expect people to still listen. There has to be variety. So, you know, that 41 touch campaign sequence that we worked out for you is designed to provide that variety. Now, for those of you who may need help with lead conversion, right? And in my opinion, these are people who've already really maximized the potential of their sphere and past clients. Those folks that just send me an email, dan@happygrasshopper.com, and we'll have a chat about what it would take to help you convert those leads. I have a whole staff of people who can interview you and create really custom detailed lead conversion sequences. I just want to be really super clear that those are not right for most agents. Unless you have a dedicated, consistent investment in lead generation, it wouldn't make sense for you to do that. You'll be far better served to just sign up for LCA Nurture and really, truly build those relationships with your past clients and sphere of influence. So I hope that answers your question, Charlene. I'll be looking for other questions to pop up here. Let's see. So one of the questions that a lot of people ask, they want to understand why ringless voicemail drop works so well with people in your past clients and sphere and so poorly with strangers, right? And I don't know how many of you have tried using a service like Sly Dial or Sly Broadcast. It's a really useful technology when it's used the right way. Like, my spatula is amazing. I can flip an omelet. Oh, it's wonderful. But it's the wrong tool to dig a trench with, right? Both things could kind of work in that scenario, but one it's just perfect for, the other one it's just not. It won't work. And you need to look at ringless voicemail drops the same way. If we know each other, if I'm your past client and my transaction anniversary is coming up, if it's a holiday, if it's my birthday, if you just want to touch base and see how I'm doing, a ringless voicemail drop is a huge time saver for you. It really lets you scale efficiently and effectively. If I don't know you, like if I'm just a resident of a neighborhood you'd like to list homes in, and I get a voicemail from you, it just feels annoying and frustrating. Like, now I'm getting advertising on my voicemail. That's the last place I want to receive it. So the context of the relationship is often the deciding factor in what makes a method of communication most effective. So I hope that that detail helps. And going just a little bit further, when you're recording your voicemail drop, be yourself. If your voice cracks, fine. If you stutter, fine. If you have a long verbal pause, like I just did, fine. If that's how you sound, it's fine. Try not to be the radio announcer. That's not your job here. Your job is to just show up as someone who's known and liked and respected by the person you're sending the content to. So I am looking at the clock, guys. We're at about 18 minutes till the top of the hour. I will tread water for another 60 seconds. So get your answers in there. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and wind it down. So the place you need to go is happygrasshopper.com/meet LCA Nurture. And once you're there, you can subscribe to LCA Nurture, which is a fantastic service. Will really help you do this. Thank you, Jake, for popping that link there in the chat. A couple of things to know, like I haven't really pushed the sales buttons here for you. There are no contracts with LCA Nurture, and there is a 30-day 100% money back guarantee. So if you're on the fence, don't be. Just open your account, get your contacts loaded, and you'll be ready to send one of our messages. And I promise you, I totally guarantee you'll get more replies than you ever expected. So thank you, everyone, for your time and attention. I really appreciate it. I will be back. I am doing a whole session in a couple of weeks that's only about free leads. So we're going to go deep on what it takes to generate those free leads. I'll have a bunch of tips for you. That t-shirt thing that I mentioned earlier, you should absolutely be doing that. My friend Michael Mayer, he talks about having a 30-day challenge for agents to carry around sold signs with them. Think about that. Just carry a sold sign with you wherever you go. You think people are going to talk to you? Absolutely they are. It's a great conversation starter. So there's all kinds of ways that you can create conversations. Just never, never, never forget that conversation comes before contract. I'm Dan Stewart. Thanks for your time, everyone. Really appreciate it. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.